Navigating the Digital Jungle with Sue Atkins and friends.
Welcome back to Navigating the Digital Jungle with Sue Atkins and friends, where we help families find their way in the ever-evolving landscape of technology. I'm Sue Atkins, parenting author, broadcaster and speaker, and your guide on this journey. I'm here today with Angeline Corvaglia, creator of Data Girl and Friends, empowering young minds with online safety and AI literacy videos, games and educational materials. Now, the topic of the week this week is digital detox in bite-sized steps. And today we're exploring a really important, I think, vital topic that touches every family, the transformative power of a digital detox. I think it's one of the most impactful tools in modern parenting toolkit, to be honest. So I've created a special resource for families to guide you through the journey, complete with tailored scripts to help start those conversations and navigate those challenges. But this isn't about banning devices forever. This is about balance. I am very pro-tech, but I'm also protect, but I'm also about balancing and finding meaningful connections in life and in family life. Let's dive into how you can use a digital detox to make a difference in your home. I've developed the 7-day digital detox with scripts, as I've said. I talk about things like Mindful Monday, Wi-Fi Free Wednesday, that's easy for me to say, Switch Off Sunday, which I know Angeline's into, detoxing in very practical, enjoyable and meaningful ways. And don't miss out on going to our hub, the Navigating the Digital Hub, where you can find all sorts of resources, lots of guides, checklists, videos and tools to help your family thrive in today's digital world. So what exactly is a digital detox? I think if you decided to run a marathon, you wouldn't just put on your trainers and run 26 miles now, would you? I certainly wouldn't, but I certainly couldn't anyway either. But you'd train, you'd plan, and you'd build up slowly. So I think the same applies to incrementally turning off your screens and tuning into real life in the present moment. Short bursts. Being disconnected in short bursts, cold turkey in bite-sized intermittent moments. So how about switching off every day at a certain time for an hour, or tuning or turning off on a Saturday or a Sunday for a bit longer perhaps? Because I think you've got to make coming off a device fun, not a punishment. So I talk about change happened quickly, but habits do take a little longer. You could have tech-free Tuesday, you could have turn-off Thursday. There's all sorts of names you could give it. I certainly like screen-free Saturday and maybe even family fun Fridays. But it's up to you to create your own day or time. You could have a catchphrase like gadget-free grub time so that you make sure you don't have your devices when you're eating together so you can have a chat. But I think it's important that we need it and we need to look at it because I think it's very important for parents, for people at work and for children in particular to gain that balancing habit really. There's been some research from Common Sense Media that said 56% of parents feel that their children's screen time negatively impacts their relationships. So that's quite high. So moments once shared, like family meals and car rides and before bed, they seem to be slipping away. So let's think about bringing them back together. And that's why I think I wrote Navigating the Digital Jungle 7-Day Detox, to help you get back into balance. So today I'm delighted to say we have Chris Sciullo, digital wellness coach, joining us today. Welcome, Christopher.
Thank you very much for having me, Sue.
Listen, tell me about your journey to becoming a digital wellness coach.
Sure. It hasn't been a linear one, so have a couple different experiences across different aspects of my life, and all of it really came together recently. So I had the privilege to grow up as part of the last generation to experience life before smartphones and social media. I've seen firsthand how humans have evolved through that process, and it's been interesting to me to observe our habits and how our interactions together, how we spend time together, how that has changed over time. It inspired me actually to get into the digital wellness space because I was interested in learning more about how technology influenced us based on some of the things that I've seen. So I've spent the last couple years learning a little bit more about the space, how technology works. My background and experience is in the tech field. I went to college for computer science. I've worked in the technology field for the past 15 years, but I also am very passionate about nature, wellness, and just general health and how we can be better as a community, better as families, and share that type of information to be better overall. With all that said, I've had an opportunity to take a break. My fourth child, Shiloh, was born recently over the summer and had some time off to think about what I wanted to do next with my career. After thinking about it and realizing we're at a point in time where something like a digital wellness coach is really needed in the world, I decided to put more time and effort and start sharing some insights of what I've learned over the past couple years with the larger community. And ultimately, it led me to conversations with people that I decided to become a coach.
I've been following you on LinkedIn, and your posts are really thought-provoking and lovely. And so I'm delighted you're here to talk about that. And I think you're right. Perhaps we do need someone to guide us or ask us some good questions to help us think about how we get back to balance. Angie, I know on a Sunday you have a digital detox, don't you? Why is digital detoxing important to you?
I absolutely agree with you about how society has changed and families have changed. And just to step away and remember what it was like, that's just so important. Also to give example for my daughter. We go on the Sundays to visit my husband's grandparents. It's like a half an hour drive. And she has to sit in the car without her device.
You cruel woman.
What should I do? You should do what I did in my long car rides. Nothing, do nothing, sit there and figure out. But it's so important actually to give those experiences, because it's just, for me, where you find yourself and your place in the world is just so important.
We're not really allowed to be bored, even for a split second. Even if you're in a queue waiting to buy a coffee, you're on your phone. We don't seem to have adjusted to doing sort of nothing and just be. Tell us a bit more then, Christopher, about how you would define digital wellness.
For me, it's about having an intentional, healthy relationship with technology.
Yes.
It's a tool that I believe we use in our lives to enhance it instead of distract from it. When I talk with people, I work with people, we really focus on what are your goals in life? What do you want to achieve? What are you focused on? What are you most happy with? And how can technology support that? And that's really how I see digital wellness playing such an important role in our lives in the future, is understanding how we can use it intentionally instead of just using it as a distraction.
Yes, I think that's a great description, actually really good. What are some common signs, would you say, that someone needs a bit of help with their digital wellness?
For me, it's if you have anxiety or fear when you leave your phone or you don't have your phone with you, or you unconsciously are picking up your device and scrolling through social media or opening up an app without really understanding why you're doing that. Things become unconscious, or you're just picking it up for the sake of picking it up because it's become maybe a negative habit in your life.
Or a crutch, perhaps, sometimes.
Yes, an escape from something hard.
Have you noticed a difference between the different generations? Like the younger generation who is growing up with digital and offline world almost being the same, whereas for my generation, these are clear differences. Do you see that it's easier or harder for like the younger generations to find that balance?
Sometimes, and I know that's not like a very crystal clear answer, but I see a lot of struggle with my generation, the generation that actually grew up prior to smartphones and social media, using it, like Sue said, as a crutch or an escape from something hard in life. It's very easy to pick up your phone and escape from something you need to do. I've seen mixed signals maybe from the younger generation. My kids range from the age of Shiloh, who was just born, to Salem, who's almost 11 now. As a kid, they really struggle understanding how technology works. So it's very easy for them to get consumed in maybe an app or a video that is short form media that pulls you in, keeps you hooked, and you continue to watch that and you walk away feeling very sad or anxious or emotionally depleted because you're just not used to that and your body's not naturally made to consume that media. But what I'm seeing with some teenagers is they're actually understanding how social media works or how smartphones were designed, and they're intentionally going offline or taking a break. Yeah, I think it's maybe different depending on the generations and depending who you talk to.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? You take quite a holistic approach, don't you, to digital wellness? Can you explain what that involves?
Yeah, sure. Holistic to me means more integrated across different aspects of your life. I grew up in nature, being outdoors and outside, being bored. I think we were talking about that a little bit earlier. That was such a huge part of my life. And just growing up, not having access to screens all the time, that meant a lot to me. So I had to go outside and we would spend our days from dusk to dawn building tree houses or playing sports or just being bored and trying to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives. So holistic to me means looking at not just the digital aspect, which I help find balance between technology and real life, but what else is going on physically or mentally, or some of the things that maybe I'm not qualified to help with, but I can ask questions to understand what a person may be going through and look at the root cause from a digital wellness perspective. So I have all the information to maybe help somebody with the digital part. And we talked a little bit about it earlier. Maybe somebody's having trouble with their relationship or something else external and they're escaping to technology to avoid dealing with that. That helps me understand if I look at it from a holistic point of view.
Because it's important for parents to get that balance so that they can model balance to their children, regardless of however old they are. I'm very interested in the early years, actually, as well as the teenagers. But they're looking to us, aren't they, to find that balance, to talk and teach them about that. What are some practical steps, do you think, that parents can take to reduce their digital overwhelm?
You nailed it 100%. So I think one of the first starting points is modeling how we act as adults really shows our children what's okay and what's not okay to do, because ultimately they learn from us on what behaviors are acceptable in the world. So if we start as adults showing them what a healthy relationship looks like, then that means the world to them. They're going to act the same way we are. And my family, we try really hard with this. My wife, Carrie, and I focus a lot. We talk openly with our family around what technology use looks like. It's a part of our life and we're pro-tech 100%. We know that it's important to understand how technology works and can enhance your life overall. But we're open with those conversations around what's healthy, what's not healthy. Here's why we do what we do, and start to establish some boundaries or some intentionality with how we use tech. And you mentioned it earlier about car rides are a great time to spend time as a family and talk about what's going on in everybody's life. What do we want to talk about? It's easy to just insert phone or screen to escape and spend some time alone. But ultimately, working together as a family and having those open conversations, we do things together, we learn together, we enjoy our time together, and we still set aside times for screens. But there are certain things like dinner and car rides where we don't do that.
So do you have any practical tips and specific strategies, perhaps, for families listening to this to think, oh, yes, give us some help? I write about lots of ideas around this, but I wondered what you might say to parents of children, perhaps of different ages, in the way to talk about it and have some sort of practical strategies to handle it.
Sure. I think the great starting point, Sue, is just to be open with your family, your children, or your teens around what do they want? What do they need? What is important to them? Because we started probably the wrong way as parents, and we delegated or made rules around how you should use technology, where as our children grew up, they started to spend time with friends. They learned about what tech could do and what they wanted to do. So giving them a seat at the table and letting them talk about what was important to them and working on boundaries and intentionality with how we could do that together as a family, that has been important. For example, if our son or daughter wants to download a new app, they get to talk to us about it, present why they want to use that app, and go into more detail about why is this important in your life. It's not just us approving or denying the app, but we have a checkpoint in place so that we have that conversation, and then they get to talk about it, and it brings us together as a family. We know what they're doing, and they get to talk a little bit about maybe something that we could learn from them.
I love that. In fact, I just wrote a blog on navigatingthedigitaljungle.com around getting kids to be like The Apprentice or something. Pitch to you as parents. Make it a game as well. Make it fun. But why do they think that they should be allowed to have access to this app? And then that makes them get critical and start thinking about this, because critical thinking is the major thing. Get really into the mode of why they want it, why they think they should have it. And then you've got a dialogue going, and then it's not so much something that's done to them or they've downloaded it and you've got to pull it back. So I think what you said there is a great idea, so that they have to talk to you about why they want certain apps. And you've got to talk and teach them that they think they know it all and they think they're mature for everything. We do know better, but it's how you say it so you don't get their backs up. The idea of protecting them. We have to protect them. We have to be pro-tech, but we have to protect them as well. I was thinking about this as well. Can technology itself be a tool for improving digital wellness, do you think?
Yes. I'll give you maybe a two-part answer here, because I think there's a little to it. First starting point, and how I recommend maybe some folks use tech to understand some of their digital habits. Whether you're on iPhone or Android, there is Screen Time app or Digital Wellbeing app that really helps you start to understand your usage. How many times are you picking up your phone? What apps are you using as soon as you pick it up? How long am I on my phone? It's not necessarily to shame you or make you feel bad about what you're doing, but it's a good starting point to understand, do my real life values align with how I'm using my technology? So it's a jumping off point to really make some behavioral decisions or changing of habits to really have a better relationship with tech. Additionally to that, I'll say too, there's a lot of health and being apps, there's exercise apps, all good things that help us see metrics or data associated with our health and well-being. Those are good, but I would also caution and just be careful that they do gamify a lot of that data. So they keep you on the platform. You're encouraged to continue to compete maybe against others for certain things. So just be aware of that. It is good and it's awesome that we get to see a lot of health-related data, but just use it wisely.
That's great advice, isn't it, actually?
This thing with the pickups was one of the big
Oh, yeah,
aha
that's right.
Yeah,
I remember
one of the
that.
big aha moments from, I think, maybe even the first episode or second one. Yeah, it's so powerful to
Yeah.
just look and see how many times you pick your phone up and what you do with it. It's just, I think that in itself, just that one number is enough to really significantly change behavior. Oops.
It really is.
Yeah.
I looked at mine for the first time and I was slightly embarrassed because I'm supposed to be focused on digital well-being, yet my number was extremely high.
Yeah, but we're all a work in progress.
Exactly.
That is for sure, Sue. Yeah, said.
As you were speaking, I thought, I've got to put my phone down more today and leave it behind when I walk the dogs. It's awareness, isn't it? Because we're all battling it. We're all trying to negotiate it. We're all navigating it. But these are the conversations that we're trying to get people to think about so that you're just a bit more mindful about what you're doing with your tech.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Mindfulness and awareness is it is the biggest first step, because I think as a society, it's been normalized that we all just do this. We all just walk around with our phones. We're all very engaged in what's happening online.
Yeah.
But once you're aware of how things work and how it could be different and maybe there is a better balance, you're right, Sue. That awareness is huge, just to understand maybe some bad habits that you have in place.
Yeah. And then just make some small changes over time that end up being quite big changes because you've done it incrementally, which is what I think is the best way to do anything.
I agree.
So how do you think the concept of digital wellness now is going to evolve in the future?
If it was up to me, digital wellness would eventually, and I think it will honestly, become another pillar of that integrated health. So you have physical health, you have mental health, you have, I watch what I eat, my diet, all of those things that maybe traditional medicine covers. And when you look at it from the holistic approach, we spend so much time in the online world. A lot of what we do is on a screen, and that's just the nature of how society is changing. So to help with that and support us as human beings, I see digital wellness becoming such an important pillar that does not exist formally yet. So I think we're going in the right direction, and meeting folks like yourself, Sue, that are focusing on this and starting to talk about it, I see it gaining a lot of momentum. And over time, I believe it will be something we talk about, just like we would what you eat, what you're feeling, all that other good stuff.
Yeah, wonderful. It's been really interesting. As we come to the end of our time together, what is the one piece of advice you'd like to give someone to improve their digital wellness today, do you reckon?
If I could give one piece of advice, just be aware of how you use tech and make sure that to the best of your ability, try to be intentional with your habits. And it's very hard, and don't be too hard on yourself, but just as you stay aware and keep in mind of what your habits are, do your best incrementally to try to make change so that you can achieve balance. And remember that your digital habits should support your real life goals. And that's how ultimately you'll have a good, healthy relationship with your technology.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Where can people find out more about you?
I'm currently on LinkedIn. I'm about 6 months into my formal digital wellness journey. I'm working on starting a business to help support people in a larger fashion. But for now, would love to collaborate and work with as many people as possible so that I not only can learn, but I can continue to contribute and try to help push digital wellness into a larger space. For now, I'll be on LinkedIn, but looking to do bigger things in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Angie, have you got any questions or anything you'd like to ask Christopher?
No, I think it's great what you've been saying, and I agree with you that it's really a trend and it started coming. I have another woman that I partner with that is really focused on digital wellness, and I hadn't thought of it, actually naming it that, digital wellness, until she asked me to I'm organizing a conference. She was like, please put digital wellness there as a separate pillar. So I absolutely agree, and it's a great thing that there are people that really focus fully on that.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on and focusing time and attention on this topic.
I'd like to tell you a bit more about my new book. As a parent myself, I know firsthand how overwhelming it can feel to keep up with the digital world our kids are growing up in. That's why I wrote Navigating the Digital Jungle Essential Scripts for starting meaningful conversations with toddlers, tweens, and teens about smartphones or social media, AI, cyber safety, and much, much more. My book is bursting with ready-to-use conversation starters that make it easier to guide your kids through everything from screen time and social media to the tricky terrain of online safety and artificial intelligence. It's like having a roadmap for those critical and important chats every parent needs to have. My book of Digital Jungle Script is all about giving you the tools to start those difficult but important conversations, no matter your child's age. Easy, practical scripts to help you feel confident and connected. If you're ready to feel more self-confident around discussing Roblox, Snapchat, or WhatsApp, grab your copy of Navigating the Digital Jungle Essential Scripts and start transforming those tough tech talks into meaningful family moments. And let's get those conversations started at navigatingthedigitalJungle.com/resources.
So it's time for our family change segment where we challenge you to make a small change that will make a big difference. So grab your digital machetes and let's tackle this together. So this one is one I've been practicing for quite a bit. It's a tech-free Sunday adventure. You can create a family tradition where Sundays are reserved for tech-free outdoors adventures. And I live in a place where people only want to spend part of the world outdoors. So that can be a challenge in winter, but there's a lot of fun stuff to do even when it's raining. You can take a hike, visit a museum in case it's bad weather, picnic in the park, dog walk, so all sorts of different stuff. Dance in the rain. Who dances in the rain? With your kids. So lots of fun stuff you can do on a Sunday. Come together.
For me, it could be any day of the week. And it's those short bursts, isn't it? It's just having that mindful moment, as in, let's put the phones down or let's put the devices away and make it fun. I had a client I was working with quite a while ago, and she was trying to get her teenage son off his devices and stuff. But she said, can you come off that now and come and do your science homework? And that didn't seem like much fun to me. So I said to her, why not say, should we go for a bike ride and have some bacon sandwiches afterwards? I was just lightening the tone, as in, just do something for fun. And it can be a very small thing, but don't make coming off the devices a punishment. Make it just part of what you do. You balance it out. You have time on it, but you come off and do other things too. So the family change this time is tech-free something. So think about it that works for your family. But my advice is to make it regular. So you always say, oh, it's Monday at 2:00 or whatever it is, or it's Friday at 5:00. We come off our devices for an hour then and we do something together, or we just chill out or read or play a game or whatever it is. But make it regular, because I'm a coach. So as I coach people, I'm always asking them to put it in. And when you do it regularly, it becomes a habit. It's as simple as that, really.
Listener questions.
And we've got a very interesting question this week. My kids are constantly on their devices, and every time I try to set screen limits, they resist. How can I get them on board with a digital detox? So there's the language also. We can think of digital wellness now. Actually, it might be a better word for you that might work for your family. I think it's a great question. Many questions like that come into us, so do send in your questions. The key, I think, is to approach this as a family activity rather than a punishment, as I mentioned just before. Involve your kids in the process. Ask them what they'd like to do instead of screen time and make it fun. Frame it positively, like, I know screens are fun, but let's try something different tonight and see what happens. They take their lead from you. So if you're upbeat and encouraging and enthusiastic, like a Labrador dog, they will come with you on the journey. So make it a joint effort with everyone on board. And I think that helps reduce the resistance. I know teens can be tricky when it comes to a digital detox, especially if they feel their phone is essential for communicating or socializing with their friends all the time. The solution, I think, is to set clear expectations ahead of time and let your teenager know that a couple of hours or even half an hour or even an hour, incrementally build it up. It won't hurt them, and that you're trying to help them, as well as yourself, as your family, find that balance. And you could say, here's some sort of script really, I understand you use your phone for important things, but let's set a couple of hours aside to be fully present with each other. Let's catch up on messages, all of us, later on, and then offer a compromise. And I think that can go quite a long way too, to making it work. What do you think, Angie, around some of these listeners' questions? What's your advice?
This specific topic, I had a big aha moment in your episode with Dr. Beth Mosley. And it's so important. I just want to repeat it, because if you haven't listened to the episode, listen to it, because she talked about the dopamine crash. Basically,
That's right.
When the people are online for a while, they build up the dopamine. And then once you get off, there's an emotional void. And that's a reason why it can get so hard for children and youth to get off. And if you have awareness of that, and they have awareness of that, that really goes a long way to helping limit time. If everyone, again, we came back to awareness, what we said this time, if you are aware of the fact that this could be a problem, then you can slowly, as she recommended, slowly, 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, warn them, and then give them that space between the time they get off and the time you start doing something to reset. I think that will go a long way to finding that balance, the family agreement, and being able to be fully in the offline times activities together.
Yes, I wrote about the dopamine crash as well on the blog on Navigating the Digital Jungle. So check that out. I gave some scripts as well, because even recognizing it, like you've said, means that, oh, I'm in the dopamine crash. Oh, that's why I'm all hyper or angry or buzzed up or whatever it is. And allowing the family to calm down on that before doing the next activity. I think awareness is half of it as well, as you say. But thanks for raising that. I think the dopamine crash was a really important point we learned from that episode, didn't we?
Now for some top tips.
This week, tech-free dinner nights. How about that? Make one dinner a week a no tech zone if you can't do it all the time. Just even pick one day when you say, do you know what? We're not going to have any tech. Put all your devices in a basket, and wherever you put them, lock them away, leave them in the another room, and focus on conversation and family connection. Not nagging about holding your knife and fork properly or eating your broccoli. Focus on family conversation. Jokes, laughs, how was your day? What was funny at school today? How'd you get on at work, on the bus? All sorts of things to talk, to re-establish meaningful communication. And you get to know each other properly and be involved in each other's lives in the real world without distractions.
My quick tip is to play a board game together as a family.
Good.
We bought one, the first one, a few months ago, actually a month ago, and it just made such a big difference. It's so fun. Yeah, we used to do it all the time. There was no tech, so you had to play board games. So I would definitely recommend any family who has played board games, go and buy one and play one together. It will be worth it. You'll discover new sides of each other.
No, you really will, because we got into this habit again when they were older. They'd all left, my kids had grown up and left home, but they come back at Christmas now and we play Jenga. I do have to say, and I'll put this in brackets, sometimes we have a little glass of wine with that when we're doing it, now that they're 30. But it's huge fun and we laugh and it's just a hoot and everybody has fun. You can do it at any age, but certainly the younger your children are, the more they love it and the more they love playing with you. And that's the whole point, really, isn't it? The other suggestion I might have, choose a day each week to declutter your family's devices. Get everyone to clean out perhaps those old photos. My daughter sends me loads of pictures of her dinner. She loves cooking. Every night I get this sort of, oh, look what I'm having tonight. And I'm thinking, oh, that's lovely. And we chat. And then I go, God, I've got to delete. I've got 40 of these. What's going on? Unused apps. Clear out unnecessarily notifications as well. So not only does it reduce your digital clutter, but I also think it helps you keep your devices organized and a bit more under control. So you don't have to do it every week, but maybe do it every month. Again, diarize it so you actually do it. And if you think of it, oh, it's always on a Saturday morning or something, then you just naturally will do it. You've got to link it to something, really, so that you make sure it's a habit. But anyway, that's just a few ideas for us about some quick tips this week. We come now to script of the week. So these are my quick scripts to start important conversations. They're just openers, and I'm writing a book at the moment all about these scripts for all sorts of different topics. But this one, just a way of starting the conversation. So here we go. Opening up the topic. This is you, parent. I've been reading a lot about how taking breaks from our phones and computers can actually make us feel better. Have you ever thought about what it'd be like to take a break from your screens for a little while? Now, the reason why this works is this script, I think, opens up the conversation without making your teen feel defensive or threatened, or it could be your tween as well, of course. And I think it invites them to share their thoughts, and you're making it a dialogue, you're making it a conversation rather than a directive. And another one could be, when discussing tech-free dinner, try saying, I love hearing about your day, and I notice screens sometimes distract us. Let's try a no-tech dinner so we can focus on each other. Just very simple things, but it just gets that moving forward. Do check out my 7-day digital detox. There are daily themes like starting conversations, decluttering your digital life, swapping screens for the outdoors, family game night that you suggested there as well, tech-free dinner time, journaling and creativity. Last episode, Parvin talked about journaling with her young little girl, who's about 6, I think. That can be a very creative way too. And then just a family reflection when you celebrate what's gone on that week, or you chat about some of the stuff that has happened to you all during that week. So all of these things just keep us connected and perhaps keep us grounded in the real world and not just on our devices. I want to tell you a little bit about a success story that was sent to me, actually. It was a Wi-Fi free Wednesday, and it brought a bit of laughter and a bit more connection to Emma. Let me tell you about Emma. So meet Emma. She's a busy mum of 2 who never thought her family could enhance a Wi-Fi-free evening without complaints. Her kids are 12-year-old Mia and 9-year-old Jake, and they were glued to their screens most evenings. And the idea of turning off Wi-Fi really felt impossible. But Emma decided to give My Wi-Fi Free Wednesday a try. That came from the 7-day digital detox, and she prepared her family in advance. I think that's the secret. She said, I told them that it would be just one evening and we'd play games, we'd make snacks and we'd have some fun together. At first, they weren't very thrilled, but I promised we'd give it a fair shot, she remembers. So the evening began with some groans as Emma turned off the router, but things quickly turned round when she pulled out an old favourite, Pictionary. Because Jake got the giggles trying to draw a kangaroo that ended up looking like a dinosaur, while Mia shocked everyone with her artistic skills, and Emma said, it was like we discovered how to laugh together again. And after the board games, the family took turns sharing their favourite childhood stories. Mia and Jake were actually fascinated to hear Emma's misadventures when she was a kid and the games that she played, and the whole thing brought them together in a very simple way. It started off a bit, I don't know if I want to do that, and it ended up, oh, that was quite fun. Can we do it again? So I think that's really important. It was just a small step, but it turned into a big win for Emma and her family. So I hope that gives you a bit of inspiration to try it this week for your family too. So Angie, what are you up to and working on at the moment?
I'm still working on the conference, the Shield Global Online Safety Conference for February of 2025. Really trying to bring people together with a similar mission to make the online world a safer place. That's moving forward. I also just kicked off an information campaign for parents about privacy and ed tech, helping to ask the right questions at school and understand how children's data might be shared, just to be able to check that with your schools and help schools as well, because usually it's overwhelming for anyone involved.
Yeah, that's very true. I've had some meetings around the online safety bill here in the UK and trying to promote early years, the 0 to 5 age range, I feel as being left out, not considered, because for me, that's where the habits start. Everyone's talking about the tweens and the teens, and rightly since Jonathan Haidt's book. But I'm very mindful of actually going right back to the beginning, because there are lots of children just being stuck in front of YouTube on autoplay. And nobody's really talking about some of the dangers around the not communicating, not connecting, and all the different sides of being passive rather than active in the world. Yeah, that's what I've been working on this week. Lots of meetings around promoting that and trying to get people to add the early years to the online safety bill.
Navigating the Digital Jungle with Sue Atkins and friends.
That's it, folks, for today's episode of Navigating the Digital Jungle with Sue Atkins and Friends. This is a bonus special for World Digital Detox Day. Do go and check out that. You can find it on a website, World Digital Detox Day. It's the 10th of December. And we've released this to get you thinking about how you can implement just small changes in your life that will help you detox and have better digital well-being. So remember, please leave us a review, subscribe, send your links to your family, and we can all get together, send it to your schools, to all sorts of people who'd be interested in joining us on Navigating the Digital Jungle, because we're all in this together. We're all part of the jigsaw. Check out our Facebook page, check out all my social media places, and I hope you found that this episode has inspired you to take the first step towards a more balanced relationship with technology. Go to my hub, download the 7-day digital detox with scripts. You can do that today, and you can start to create some space for the moments that matter most. So until next time, stay connected and take care.
Yeah, jungle out there.